That lady's a nice lady that introduces us every time and closes us out. She's been doing she's been doing a lot of podcast farming, not just this one, but we've used her in other settings as well. So don't even remember her name. She sure is a nice lady, though. Like the way she introduces us. We've been talking about bivocational pastors, co-vocational pastors. We've had a lot of discussion about it in the previous two episodes. We've been talking about the why behind it, why you go from full-time vocational, bivocational, co-vocational. If you want to go back and listen to that episode, that's number 73, or watch it, whatever the case may be. Then we talked about the steps that you need to take, the major steps, the macro steps, if you will, the big steps. And we talked about that in episode number 74. Okay, you're about to go from full-time vocational to bivo or covo. What are some of the challenges that we are hearing from people who've actually done this? This isn't some kind of theory by Church Answers or by Rayner. This is what we've heard. We listen, and this is what we have heard from you. So we're going to talk about 4 of the key challenges. Obviously not an exhaustive list, but a good list to begin. So let's get ready for that. Before we do, let's thank our sponsor, Belay. We all want to be more productive, from growing the impact and reach of our church to maximizing our time at work and investing in family time at home. Time is one of our most valuable resources. Our friends at Belay are productivity experts. They've helped busy church leaders accomplish more with remote staffing solutions since 2010. So if you're feeling maxed out, Belay can help. Hey, to jumpstart your productivity, Belay is giving Church Answers listeners an exclusive free download. It's an ebook called The Power of Productivity. It's practical tips and assessments that can really make you a more productive person. So what you need to do is text THOM, that's THOM, at 55123. That's THOM, THOM, at 55123, and get this download. Okay, this third episode about bivocational, co-vocational pastors and transitioning from full-time vocational to now part-time vocational. And just a reminder, many times this is for financial reasons. Not all the time, but many times it's for financial reasons. And so we've talked to a number of pastors that were full-time vocational that are now bivo or co-vocational. We've heard the good, we've heard the struggles, we've heard the challenges. And what we want to do this time is we wanted to summarize 4 of the challenges that we've heard. So let's get ready to summarize those. And ironically, the first of the 4 challenges is financial. These leaders went into co-vocational, bivocational ministry, sometimes thinking that the compensation that they were going to get in the secular world or in the marketplace would offset that they've had to decrease in their church, and maybe with a little bit more, because most churches do not pay adequately anyway. Well, what they were not prepared for, and I could get into a lot of technicality, salary is not always salary. There are a lot of deductions. There's a lot of stuff that comes out. For some pastors, they don't have Social Security taken out of their church funds. They have them taken out of their secular pay. For some pastors, they have a housing allowance. They don't have a housing allowance in the secular world. I'm simply saying this. I could get into all the details, and that would just bore you to death. My purpose here is not to talk about the financial details, simply to say many pastors said they did not consider all the financial implications of going co-vocational or bivocational. We can talk about that. You can write to us at Church Answers to find out more about that kind of information, about what are some of the financial challenges. But my advocacy right now is just know that you will likely have some financial surprises. Eliminate the surprises before you start doing this. So number 1 is financial. Number 2, you would kind of expect this. Many of your church members do not reduce the expectation of their pastor when the pastor goes bivocational. They still want the pastor at the same meetings. They still want the pastor doing the same level of pastoral care. They still want the pastor to sit with someone, family, during another family member's surgery. Many of them still have the same expectation. You could have told them differently. You could have given them all kinds of heads up and warnings that things are not going to be the same. But many of them still expect you to do the same thing, even though you have another job now. I heard from one pastor a few weeks ago. He went from full-time compensated to bivocational. So there was a surgery by a church member. He made a quick stop to go pray for the person before they went under and then left. And the family was mad at him because he did not stay and sit with them during the surgery. That was his pattern. That was his pastoral care. And they did not understand that he had to leave because he had another job that he had to go to. And he could not sit during surgery the whole time. And he had to go back and remind them, and he said they still aren't very happy about it, that he could not do that same level of ministry that he used to do. Now, the good news is a deacon came and sat with the family, but for this family, the deacon wanted the pastor, obviously. They wanted the pastor to sit with them. Some of the expectations by church members will not change. This brings up another challenge, a new schedule. If you take a job in the secular world, it's a good chance that you're going to have a fixed schedule. I understand there's flexible jobs in the secular world, but it's a good chance you're going to have a new schedule. And what does that mean? You cannot respond to every call 24/7. There may be the need for somebody to go to the hospital, but you are on a clock with another job and there's nothing you can do. Someone told me that they work for UPS as their side job, and they have a delivery route and they have to do that delivery route. They don't have any choice about that. Their new schedule means that they cannot do ministry on the fly, on call, 24/7 like they used to. They have been surprised how the new schedule has taken away the flexibility that full-time vocational pastors have, where if something comes up, they can jump into that right away. Again, it's not all bad because you can equip the saints to do the work of ministry and you have other people doing it, but it is different. Your new schedule, especially if you have a fixed schedule, especially if you're working for an organization that requires you to be there for such hours, you're going to see that that is significantly different. The fourth challenge is your family. Your family has to get used to your new schedule. As a pastor, you may have had a great deal of flexibility. You still put in the hours, but you were able to do some things with your family because then you could work some nights doing some sermon preparation or something else for the church. But once you take that other job, there's this good possibility that you are not going to have the flexibility that you once had, and your family may have trouble adjusting. So these are the four biggest challenges. Remember, we talked to bivocational pastors who had been full-time vocational, and they gave us these four challenges that were common. Let me repeat them one more time. Financial, they didn't adequately look at what the new marketplace compensation would mean, particularly in light of the fact that they were taking a pay cut. Secondly, many of the members did not reduce their expectations, even though the church reduced the pay and the expected hours of the pastor. Number three, they have a new schedule. Many times it's a fixed hour schedule that means they cannot just jump up and do church work because now they have secular or marketplace work they have to do. And fourth, their family had to get used to this new schedule too. Being a pastor vocationally can be good in the sense that you can have great flexibility, but it also means that you work countless hours at night, weekends. Your family will need to get used to the schedule. They will need to move forward in your new life as well. I hope you've enjoyed these podcasts. 3 of them on moving from a full-time pastorate to a bivocational or co-vocational pastor. If you did not listen to them or watch them, it's episode 73, 74, and 75. And as always, we thank Belay. Once again, remember to download their new eBook, The Power of Productivity. Text THOM, THOM, at 55123 to get that download immediately. I hope you've enjoyed these 3 podcasts, if you've listened or watched all 3, or just this one by itself, on the challenges and what it means to go from being a full-time pastor to co-vocational or bivocational. As always, thank you for being a part of Church Answers Podcast. We got a lot more that I want to share with you. And so we'll see you next week if you're continuing to listen to these. Take care. Hey, folks, this is a PS to our podcast. We got some exciting stuff that we want to offer you absolutely for free. Sam, when you think about predictive factors in a church's growth, if you take out demographics, what are some things that come to mind? Just two. I mean, don't give me a list of 10. Just two or three things that come to mind on predictive growth of a church.
Well, evangelism and whether the church is doing it or not.
Bingo.
And then I will add, is it an ongoing evangelism emphasis?
Double bingo. Well? And maybe something about leadership and their commitment to that. So all of the above.
Evangelistic churches have evangelistic pastors. Is the staff, is the lead pastor doing the work themselves?
We have a free download for you, and it's actually a sheet that you can self-score. You answer 20 questions, anywhere from strongly disagree to strongly agree, and we come back and we predict what your growth rate is going to be for the next year in worship attendance. It's not a perfect tool, but it's a good tool. There's a link to that for the attendance predictor. Look in the show notes. You'll absolutely love it. That's cool. We'll see you soon.